My name is Lonnie Webb. I'm a psychotherapist and a licensed clinical social worker with specialties in neuroscience, human behavior, and systems analysis. I've been in the field for about 30 years now. I've decided to make a couple of videos that might help out during this unprecedented time. What I'd like to ask you to do is, over the course of this video, if you have any questions or comments, please jot those down. I'm going to ask you to send them to my email, and we're going to collate those. We're going to strip them of any personal information. That way you're not identified in the question in any way. And then subsequent videos we make will include those questions. So please participate by sending your comments or questions to lonnie@mindworks.com. To start with, I'm going to do two presentations. One is more for the individual, more for you as a person. And the second is more for you as a professional, especially if your profession is teaching or staff at a school. I'm going to be giving you perhaps some practice ideas and strategies, some resources that might help with that helpless feeling some of you may be feeling after experiencing sudden school closure and that slow rising feeling of responsibility that has probably resulted in a scramble to prepare lessons for students who are also unsure of what they have to do in a lockdown scenario. So let's get to it. I don't know about you, but I rarely feel like I have it all figured out. But I know that I had it more figured out than before the coronavirus hit. The type of change that we're experiencing right now is disruptive. It's disruptive to our health, it's disruptive to our schedules, it's disruptive to our plans personally, it's disruptive to our plans professionally. Look, let's just put it out there. Students may fall behind. They may not make the same type of progress, and that has to be okay. There are other valuable pieces for students to be able to gather during this experience that are not within our typical or expected metrics, but they're valuable nonetheless. We can't overestimate the importance of looking after each other at this time, being mindful of your own wellness. I always make it like an airplane. When you put on your oxygen mask before you put on those of others, it's important for you to take care of your well-being so that you have the capacity to take care of others. And to start with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about getting organized. It's important that we start with a level of organization. Whatever that is, again, to you is going to be very personal. As an example for myself, before I begin to write a report or a professional publication, I have to have my area cleaned up. I have to have my papers stacked. I have to go through those. I have to have everything sort of addressed and dealt with. I'm often surprised when I'm doing that, how finding one phone number or an email that I needed to return, by just doing that simple activity, reduces my perceived stress by 10 or 15%. I can find a letter I need to mail, and another 10 or 15% is reduced. Sometimes that has given me just enough capacity. I'm just above being overwhelmed, that I can now have the capacity to deal with others. Now, if we use that capacity to increase our well-being, we're going to have additional capacity to improve the well-being of others. So we're going to start with the same place I would start in a clinical eval. I would ask you, how are you sleeping? How are you eating? And are you exercising? Those three items are really foundational to what we experience as a sense of well-being. Sleep is foundational. No good psychological evaluation would occur without the psychologist or the therapist asking, how are you sleeping? Sleeping too little can be just as bad as sleeping too much, and vice versa. So it's important that you're getting the proper amount of sleep. Diet. Diet is extremely important. Harvard's most recent research is really focusing on how diet impacts our psychological well-being. If you don't have the proper amino acids and proteins in your body can't make the neurotransmitters that we need for, again, a perceived sense of well-being. And for those of us who are on psychotropic medication prescribed by your psychiatrist or your physician, that medication needs and sort of assumes a healthy diet. All the research that was done behind that was done on groups of people who were given prescribed diets. So it's assumed that you're having a healthy diet if you're taking any of these medications. If you're not, you may not have the building components of the chemicals needed for that medicine to work. So if you've noticed your medication doesn't seem to be working as well during this time, look back to your diet. And then exercise. Exercise is the one panacea in mental health. It's the one overall treatment. It's the one thing that we recommend in all cases, as long as you're physically able. Get some exercise, whether it be walking or doing anything in your home. It's super important. So exercising kind of rounds out the 3 basic needs that we have to have a good sense of well-being. The second one's easy and it's short. Be kind to yourself. As your therapist, I'm telling you, be kind to yourself. It's a mindset. It's a position that you take that you're going to give yourself a break. This is a tough time. So you have to be kind to yourself. From being kind to yourself, you'll be able to be kind to others. The next 3 go together and might easily be remembered as mind, body, and spirit. Let's start with mind. Mind is any activity that occurs in the mental space, just you. It might be expressing yourself. That could be creating or listening to music. That might be writing. It might be doing puzzles. It might be Sudoku or crosswords. Any of these activities that occur in your mind may be a way to help increase wellness in your life. The next one is body. Anything that uses your body to move. The obvious one here is exercise. That could be running, that could be lifting, that could be doing kettlebells. Those are sort of obvious exercise items, but anything that moves your body can help here. It could be gardening, it could be vacuuming, it could be cooking, it could be doing anything that gets you up out of a chair and gets you moving. Fall into the category of body. The final thing I want to talk to you about today is spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is sort of going vertical. It is connecting with past traditions you may have, whether that be through prayer or meditation. It's connecting with things that we've done in the past that allow us to sort of disconnect from our present troubles and allow us to connect to real essence, to what's really going on. Sort of as I started with, what's most important in our life has become really clarified to us right now. Having a spiritual practice allows us to plug in even further to what's really important, what's really at our essence. One way to do that is through contemplation. Contemplation is a practice of silence. It's a practice where we allow thoughts to come through our head, through our mind, but we allow them right back out the other side. We just move them through. We don't try to wrestle with them, but we allow just ourselves to be centered, to be able to be present to the moment, and to relax, and to really get connected with what's important. A similar practice to contemplation, but one that has more of a neurophysiological backing to it, is breath work. Breath work is a way for us to be able to use our breath and through our physiology to change our state. So breath work, just by the way we breathe, can actually impact heart rate, it can impact stress, it can impact a ton of different areas in our life. And we thought what might be helpful is to have someone show you actually how to do a breathwork practice. So Christine Webb, my wife, will now show us an example of how to use breathwork to reduce anxiety.
A hack that we find to be very effective for reducing stress is called breathwork practice. And it's called practice for the simple reason that it takes practice to access the full benefits of breathwork. But lucky for us, our nervous system responds to benefits of our breathwork efforts immediately. There are a number of breathwork techniques that are used for different purposes like insomnia, different kinds of therapies, pain management, meditation, yoga, and some use breathwork for increasing energy, becoming more awake and alert. But for our purposes today, I wanted to show you a hack that will help you with anxiety and relaxation. The hack I'll show you is a breathing exercise that is simple to remember. It's called 4-7-9, and it works by slowing down the heart rate, reducing tension and anxiety by controlled breathing. And this is why we call it our nervous system hack. It's a natural medicine, it's free, and it has no bad side effects. And with consistent practice, there are deeper, fuller benefits for your body and your health. But for now, let's begin by finding a comfortable position to be in, either lying down or sitting. I like to close my eyes because it helps me focus and to become a little less distracted, but sometimes closing one's eyes can increase anxiety, so it's fine not to close your eyes if that's uncomfortable for you. When I begin my breath work, I always like to quiet my mind and feel my body supported in my chair and feel my feet on the ground, or in this case, on my cushion. We don't always have the right situation to do this, but more important is that we simply gather our attention to our breath and begin our nervous system hack. Here's how we'll do it. I'm going to count to 4, and we breathe in through our nostrils, our nose, with our mouth closed, to a count of 4. And when I reach the top of my breath at 4, I'll hold my breath for 7 counts. And then after 7 counts, I'll slowly release my breath at the count of 9. And we do this 4 times. There's 4 cycles that we do. And then that would be enough for one practice. We can do this twice a day. So I'm closing my eyes and I'm focusing now on my breath. And I can't count and breathe at the same time, so I'll just show you what I'm doing. There. That's basically how to do the first simple 4-7-9 breath work. Thank you.
That's all we have for today. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. If you took any notes or you have any questions, please remember to send those to us and we'll include those in future videos. Thanks.